April 12, 2015. A Sunday morning in Baltimore, Maryland. What started as an ordinary day would soon spark national outrage, ignite protests, and deepen the conversation around policing in America. 25-year-old Freddie Gray was arrested, alive, conscious, and walking. A week later, he would be dead. The cause? A severe spinal cord injury sustained while in police custody. His death raised a harrowing question. How does a young man die in the back of a police van? This is the story of Freddie Gray, a story that echoes across America, of pain, protest, and the pursuit of justice. Freddie Carlos Gray Jr. grew up in the Sandtown-Winchester neighborhood of West Baltimore, one of the city's most impoverished communities. The area was plagued by economic instability, underfunded schools, and over-policing. For Freddie and his siblings, life was never easy. Born premature, Freddie had health issues that plagued him throughout life, including lead poisoning from substandard housing. Despite the odds, those who knew him said he had a playful spirit, always cracking jokes and flashing his crooked grin. He wasn't a stranger to the criminal justice system, having been arrested multiple times, mostly for minor drug charges. But by all accounts, Freddie wasn't dangerous, and he certainly didn't deserve what would happen next. Sunday morning, April 12, 2015. At around 8:39 a.m., Baltimore police officers on bicycle patrol noticed Freddie Gray and another man on the corner of Pressbury and North Mount Streets. For reasons still debated, Freddie ran. Officers chased him down. They claimed they found a switchblade in his pocket. A knife, they said, was illegal under city law. But this would later become one of many points of controversy. Witnesses reported hearing Freddie scream in pain during the arrest. Cell phone videos captured part of the scene. Freddie is seen on the ground, handcuffed, clearly distressed. Officers drag him to a police van. He's not resisting. He's screaming. Officers place him in the back of the van without a seatbelt, a violation of department policy. It's the beginning of what would be a 45-minute ride that would change everything. The van made multiple stops, 6 in total. At no point was Freddie given proper medical attention. At one stop, he was placed in leg restraints. At another, officers checked on him, but again failed to secure him with a seatbelt. Police claimed Freddie was irate, but video footage showed a man who was becoming increasingly limp. By the time the van arrived at the Western District Police Station, Freddie Gray was unconscious. Paramedics were called. He was rushed to the hospital. The diagnosis: a severe spinal cord injury. His spine was 80% severed. Within a week, Freddie slipped into a coma and died on April 19th. He never regained consciousness. News of Freddie's death spread fast, and Baltimore erupted. Thousands took to the streets demanding answers. No justice, no peace, echoed through neighborhoods. The protests started peacefully but soon escalated. On April 27th, the day of Freddie's funeral, tensions exploded into rioting and looting. Police cars burned. The National Guard was deployed. Baltimore declared a state of emergency and enforced a citywide curfew. The world was watching. For many, Freddie's death was not just about one man, but about years of systemic abuse in poor, black communities. This wasn't the first death in police custody, but this time there was video, there were witnesses, and there was fire in the hearts of a city fed up with silence. 6 Baltimore police officers were involved in Freddie's arrest and van transport. Lieutenant Brian Rice, Officer Caesar Goodson Jr., Sergeant Alicia White, Officer William Porter, Officer Edward Nero, Officer Garrett Miller. Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby made a bold move. On May 1st, 2015, less than 2 weeks after Freddie's death, she announced criminal charges against all 6 officers. Charges ranged from second-degree depraved heart murder to manslaughter, assault, and misconduct in office. It was a historic moment. Never before had officers in Baltimore been charged so quickly in a police custody death. But justice, it seemed, would not come so swiftly. The trials began in December 2015. The first officer, William Porter, faced a hung jury. A mistrial was declared. Prosecutors vowed to retry him. Over the following months, 3 more officers went to trial. All were either acquitted or had charges dropped. With each verdict, hope faded. By July 2016, all charges against the 6 officers were dropped. No one was held criminally responsible for Freddie Gray's death. Many called it a miscarriage of justice. Others pointed to the challenges of prosecuting police officers, especially in cases relying on intent and negligence. The city of Baltimore did, however, reach a civil settlement with Freddie Gray's family, agreeing to pay $6.4 million. But for many, no dollar amount could equal justice. Freddie's death left deep scars on Baltimore. Sandtown Winchester remained a neighborhood in pain. In the months following the unrest, the Department of Justice launched a full investigation into the Baltimore Police Department. The results were damning. In 2016, the DOJ released its report stating that BPD had engaged in a pattern of unconstitutional practices, discriminating against black residents, using excessive force, and failing to hold officers accountable. The report validated what many residents had long claimed, that Freddie's death was not an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a broken system. Baltimore entered into a federal consent decree to reform its police department. But change, as always, came slowly. Freddie Gray became more than a name. He became a symbol. His death, alongside those of Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, and later George Floyd, helped fuel a national movement. Black Lives Matter became a rallying cry not just for police reform, but for racial justice. Murals of Freddie went up around Baltimore. His name was chanted in protests across the nation. His story taught the world about rough rides, about the dangers of unchecked power, and about the cost of silence. Freddie Gray's life mattered, and while no court verdict could bring him back, the cry for justice he inspired continues to echo. It's been years since Freddie Gray took that fatal ride in a police van, but his memory remains. He was a son, a brother, a friend, not a perfect man, but a human being deserving of dignity and life. His story forces us to ask hard questions. How do we hold law enforcement accountable? How do we protect the vulnerable? How do we rebuild trust between police and the communities they serve? The answers are complex, but the need for justice is simple. Freddie Gray should not have died in police custody, and we must never forget why he did.